Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of The Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome everybody. Today I'm taking a look at the Star Wars Titanium series Jango Fett's Slave One, released in 2006. Now, this interpretation of the Slave One was first seen in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now, this particular Slave One model has a long history. It began with the Galoob days of Micro Machines, when that company decided to make several ships die-cast, and Slave One was one of them, among other ships such as the Jawa Sandcrawler, an X-Wing Millennium Falcon, and also the Super Star Destroyer. Now, several years later, Hasbro bought out Galoob, and of course they made some Episode 1 die-cast vessels, but the line was basically terminated at that time. Years later, we were introduced to the Star Wars Titanium series, and there was dozens upon dozens of brand new molds released, among re-releases of the originals that Galoob made back in the day, such as Slave One here. Now sure, there might be some minor differences here and there, but for the most part, the basic mold of this is very identical to the original Boba Fett diecast vehicle we've seen in the 90s. And I'm okay with that. It featured a nice diecast body and movable parts, which we will be looking at very soon. And besides Jango Fett's ship, the Titanium series also brought us Boba Fett's Slave One, a paint variant of Jango Fett's Slave One, which features some battle damage, and also a very metallic looking fire spray interceptor paint job, which looks amazing. So as you can no doubt tell, I am very biased towards this particular mold. I think it is very cool and a beautiful looking ship. Now for the size of this vessel, we're looking at a little over an inch in length and about 3 inches tall. And I think that is a nice size for a titanium ship. As you can see, it does have a lot going for it. So everybody should know how my videos go by now. We're going to take a look at the mold, the paint, put on a stand, compare it to some other vessels, and then we'll be done. So let's get moving. So let's kick this video off looking at the mold. Like in all my videos, I'll go over all the major sections of the ship, and then we'll get a nice close-up look to see those fine details. Now the Slave One has a very unique design. I think it stands out very much in a collection, and it's very iconic. So for the main points here, we have our cockpit, sensors jammer, stabilizer fins. Now this piece coming down is riddled with hidden weaponry and different systems. I believe there is hidden laser cannons right here and here. Moving down, we have our twin blaster cannons, which rotate. And then below that, at least in the film, we have hidden missiles. So that's pretty awesome. Looking down here, we have our entryway, and down here would open up to get into the ship to go to the cargo hold. So that's pretty interesting. On the back, we have our engines, nicely detailed back here, and about right here should be where the seismic charges come out of. So right on. Also on the bottom, we do have our 2 peg ports for the stand, screws holding it together, and copyright crap is located right here and here on the lips. All in all, a very interesting ship. Now for the moving parts, we have our stabilizer fins, so let's take a quick look at that. For the stabilizer fins, they do rotate, and that's pretty cool. Now what I really like about these, besides it being able to go into flight mode and landing mode, if you want to put it that way, is that this section that comes out from the main body over, let's call it a pylon if you will, there is a groove right here in the stabilizer fin, and when you shut this, it goes into that groove and becomes flush. And to me, that is very nice. It's a cool attention to detail. And I just wanted to get one shot from a front view of the wings. And then finally, we have our rotating twin blaster cannons. Looking at the blaster cannons, they can rotate all the way around. Sometimes you get these and they are a little loose, but this one's pretty tight after all these years. Pretty nice. I like that quite a bit. So that does it for all the major sections on the Slave One. So now let's get a closer look. Now starting our closer look, I figured we'll begin with the engine section. And I love how it's recessed in here. You can see how we have this nice lip on both sides. And then all our mold is right here. Reminds me of a horseshoe crab, sorta. But regardless, let's begin. We have a screw holding it together. Some beautiful molding, as we can see here. Coming down, we have some nice raised sections on the sides, as well as our main details coming down with the engine. Peg port for the stand. Beautiful mold here. Look at that. Nicely done. Another screw, more engines. Look at that, it's all recessed in. We have some beautiful modules on the sides. And check it out, it's different. You look at this side, has one little module there. Come to this side, it's got 3. Very cool. Secondary peg port. More excellent molding. Fantastic stuff. And then the bottom, look at that mold. Beautiful. Then we have 2 raised sections with copyright crap. And painted fiber or hair. Weird. But yeah, guess it is what it is. All in all, fantastically done back here. And now looking at the skirt and main body section, we can see some beautiful line work here. A little hard to see with all the different paints, but there is a nice mold on here. As you can see, little raised sections looking good. Nice paneling. Fantastic looking stuff. Coming up on the main body, you can see all the little raised sections and lines. Pretty dope. And for the rest of the skirt, look at that. Nice paneling. Again, a little hard to see, but it is there. Coming around. Pretty nice. Coming up on here again, next to the stabilizer fin. Nicely done. Love the molding on here. And then we have our entry ramp again. Looking in, we have some nice molding coming on in here. And a screw holding it together. There we go. Beautiful stuff. And of course we got the bottom. Our twin blaster cannons, which are nicely molded. And again, they can rotate, as I showed before. Looking good. For the top detail, there we go. We can see it's sort of rounded out because of the paint, but it's full of detailing. You can see a lot of lines here and there, especially on the sides. Look at all that. Some beautiful stuff. And on this side, looking good. Now for the cockpit, the window is recessed in. This is one of my first Titanium series ships, so you can see how it's a little smudged up and whatnot. But it is what it is, and I love the paint job. Beautiful. And we can see some nice detail in here with all that line work. Little modules here and there, but nothing really to write home about. Now for the sides, we have this nice section here, looking really cool. As you can see, it's die cast, some paint chip in there, but looks like a little dust in there. Oh boy. But for the stabilizer fin itself, just take a moment and look at all this. We got lines, pipes, beautiful stuff. And it's the same on this side, so I'm only going to focus on one. There's no real differences for the most part. But in my opinion, a beautiful looking piece. And for the underneath, again, some nice looking designs here. And going around, you can see they even molded the sides. Little circle there. And then the back. And this piece attaches right here where it's painted black. And you can see it rotates. And you can see the mechanism through the peg hole right there. Pretty neat, huh? So that's everything for the mold. Hopefully I covered everything. So now let's take a look at the paint. And now looking at the paint on Slave 1, I tried to film this segment about 3 or 4 times. And each time I do it, we're going into about 5-6 minutes. And even for me, it's a little too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rattle off all the paint colors and just point at my favorite sections. Why, you might be asking? Because this, ladies and gentlemen, is the titanium vessel with the most paint I've ever seen, hands down in the entire line. On this Slave 1, we have about 18 different colors. You heard me right, 18. And it's a lot. And as you can see, it is covered with different colors all the way around. Even in the engine section, there's different colors here and there. It's just a wonderment. It's a beautiful ship, full of some excellently painted sections. Now, is it perfect? No, it does have some slop here and there, but for the most part, it's beautiful. Hands down, simply beautiful. So, I'm going to rattle off the colors, and then I'll go over some of my favorite parts. So, here we go. We have off-white for the main color. We also have green, dark green, and light green. You can see all three here. Moving on, we have olive green and light olive green on 3 patches. Moving on from there, we have blue, dark blue, yellow, glossy black, black, gray, light gray, dark gray, yellow gold metallic spray, which is located on the back of the vessel, light metallic gray, brown, and I would have to say a nice darker gray for the main section all the way in the back, which is the main color the diecast is painted. So all in all, you heard it, and it's all on here. As we can see, the nice light off-white, which is very nice, and I think it goes extremely well with all these different types of grays coming down, and of course the different greens and yellows. Just fantastic. Everything pops on here. Now, some of my favorite parts are the glossy black cockpit window, looking good. Moving on, I do love the glossy black painted blaster cannons, which look very cool. Green is my favorite color, so I'm digging all these different mixtures of different greens. To me, it just stands out, and I love it. And of course, you cannot talk about this ship without bringing up this nice camo blue down here. Fantastically done. Beautiful. Simply beautiful. I don't even know what to say besides it is a work of art. All these different colors working together. It is fantastic. Now for the engine section, we do have this nice gray, dark gray, and that beautiful goldish yellow metallic spray. And that's not it, because underneath all these sections is black to make it all stand out. Excellent job. In some hidden colors, we do have black on the stabilizer fins and the rotating section attached to it, as you can see. So they got paint in places normal people wouldn't even look. Like, look at the side here. Brown, green, lighter green. Just amazing. Simply beautiful. So that does it for the mold, as well as the paint. An excellent looking ship in my opinion. So now let's put this baby back on a stand compared to some other vessels, and then we'll be done. And just like other Titanium series ships, it comes with a cool stand. On the back of the Slave 1, however, we do have 2 peg ports. In the first one, you could put it in like so, and then you have the Slave 1 in a nice flight pose. And if you want to use the second one, you can turn the stabilizing fins, locate the second peg in the back, plug it in like so, and just like that, everybody, you are good to go. And now for a quick size comparison with the Star Wars Titanium Series Slave 1 seen in the center. On the right hand side, we have the Naboo Royal Cruiser. I believe one of my viewers, Overlord, brought this up when I did my review on the Amidala Star Skiff. And it is a beautiful ship, very elegant looking, and one day I hope to review this vessel. And finally, on the left-hand side, we have the Trade Federation battleship, the Lucrehulk, and I'm very, very happy to finally have this particular piece in my collection. This is real. It is from the Episode 1 diecast line, which inevitably was carried over into the Titanium series and given a CIS color scheme. Some beautiful looking ships here. And that does it today for my review of the Star Wars Titanium series Jango Fett Slave 1, released in 2006. The mold, we've seen it tons of times before, especially in the Titanium line, but it's a huge fan favorite, and I can see why. It's elegant, it has a lot of moving parts, it's beautiful. Moving on to the paint, I don't even need to say it. Exquisite, excellently done. And you can't forget, it does come with that nice stand to help it blend in with the rest of the collection, which I'm a huge fan of. And that's everything I have to say about this exquisite ship today. If you enjoyed my video, please hit that like button, and if you'd like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and watching my video. It really means a lot to me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody.